goodness, we're super excited and honored to have Sage here with us to share their musical mastery, musical artistry for performance and masterclass. Enjoy, listen with kind, ambitious, and respectful ears. And I just made that up on the spot. I was like, where does this go? Yeah, beat. Enjoy the show. Have a great time and think of, it's a great time to ask questions and understand the journey it takes to just have a life of music, a life of artistry, you know? So think about those questions and enjoy. I'm not gonna talk long. Enjoy. Show some love for Sage.
know the name of that tune we just played?
Take the A train.
Take the A train. Who was the composer for bonus points? It was Duke. Yeah. I was just telling somebody the other day, one of my friends, she mostly sings classical opera, but she was in a choral performance where they did Duke Ellington's Sacred Suite, which not many people know about that suite. He wrote some really beautiful like jazz spiritual stuff. And I was telling her how I really believe like Duke is one of the most underrated American composers that we have. But he really was a great American composer, not just an amazing pianist, which is great, but you'll learn, especially we got all these music students in the room, wave, all music students, yes. You'll learn that you don't just like, yeah, you make money performing, that's cute, but you make real money by writing. And so Duke is like, go on. And Duke's grandchildren right now are getting a check because they performed his choral suite the other night. So the writing money is the money that like lives forever, right? So we just want to encourage you to keep writing if you have creative ideas like that, just like Duke. We're gonna keep it moving with, oh yeah, speaking of spirituals, y'all gonna know this, so you can sing along when we get to the part in a hot toddy second. Huh? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Davis in the afternoon. I know we're changing out classes. Little Miles Davis for you. Say again, what? No, I don't have track for that. Okay. teacher, Sweet Lee. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't say who my sisters are on the bandstand. On keys, we have Yayoi Ikawa. On sax and gosh, everything else but the kitchen sink, we have Sweet Lee Odom. My name is Crease, the violin diva on violin and vocals for you today. We're gonna do Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
From Willy Wonka, the old Willy Wonka though. I don't know if they watched that one. The old Willy Wonka. We talking about the keys. We got how many wind players we got in the room? Wind players? Yeah, you know you gotta always transpose and call the keys in C. Make sure when you call in keys, you call them in C, or you say I'm playing in this one, right? Always give your keys in C major.
Yeah.
Play a little for the people, Lee.
Okay, here we go. You guys don't mind if I read, right? If I don't read.
No, go ahead, read it.
I don't get. There's too much music in the world for me to memorize it all.
absolutely on the saxophone.
Say it again, if your dream is not scaring you, yet you're not dreaming big enough. So for her to be able to play with one of her inspirations, she's dreaming pretty big. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, your person, girl.
Hi, how are you? So I have a different story. My family didn't play music, and I played classical piano growing up. First time I played with people was I was 15 years old, and I was in Portland, Oregon, and I didn't speak English, and I just wanted to communicate.
I know there's a lot of different types of styles in music, and if so, what's your favorite type of style?
Your personal ethos is, but in the same token, like Bill's gonna bill. So you take whatever gig is available to you, no matter what the genre is, if you can handle it and you're fluent in it and can be excellent at it, for the opportunity that comes. Ladies, do you have anything to add to that? No? No? Okay. Does that answer your question pretty good? Yeah. And you truthfully, you learn to find something you love about everything. I mean, if I do a heavy metal gig, I'm probably not gonna love that. So I probably, like at this point in my career, I won't take the gig, because if I don't love it, it's gonna just annoy me. And I have the luxury of being able to say no to some things now. But you do try to find something to love in every genre that you're playing.
Do you feel bad when you say no to the gig?
Do I feel bad? No. No. There was a time, I mean, when I was like really young, like just starting, I started playing in New York. I was about 25. So in the beginning of my career, like I probably would feel guilty about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really. And now I look back, I'm like, no, like you have to love some part of it. So in a market like New York, there's always somebody else who's like, that is their dream gig. So you should call, I'm like now especially, you should call that person. Because they're gonna give you something on the gig that I'm just not. Because I won't like it like that. Is that, anybody else have anything to add to that, ladies?
And yeah, there's some times I did feel guilty. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to detail why I feel guilty, because there are some gigs where I do say no, and there's very specific reasons why I'm saying no. I'll tell you this, I value friendship over the dollar.
Amen.
So, I have said no, and I feel a little guilty, but, I'd rather see you on the side of the street and be able to say hi to you than not, One more, okay, then we gotta go to
Friendships are your lifeline.
He says there's one more, we'll take the one more.
So, in the music industry, do you guys feel like that people treat you different because you guys are women?
That's a great question, did you hear it?
I did, I'm gonna repeat it for everybody. He says in the music industry, do we feel like people treat you differently because you are women? Anybody else wanna go first? Yo, go ahead, you.
They do treat women differently. It's not better, but it was harder when I was brand new in town.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just, live it, but that nurtured me to be even more hungry, even more kick-ass. Because, it used to be like, before I played the first set, people just look at me like, to even say like, who brought this girl on the bandstand?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to like really play hard to kick ass. And, after one set, people respect me. And now, not so many people really treat me differently because I earned it. I just can say that, if you keep your passion, if you keep at it, people will respect what you do.
One of the things, and she'll never say it, but I'll say it about her. One of the things I love about Yoyo, and I was even thinking when she was playing Pure Imagination and following. Did you notice she was really following sweetly through that? And sometimes she wasn't sure, so she'd wait and look, and there's a lot of like nonverbal communication happening. She's not just a great pianist. She's not just a great female pianist. She's a great pianist, period. It doesn't matter what gender she is. She's an incredible pianist, an incredible accompanist, and that's rare. And that's one of the reasons why she still works and gets all the calls she gets.
After you learn, like, not the basic skills, but like how to basically play, like how do you stand upon that? For example, I noticed like 2 songs ago you did this like whistle on it, and I cannot figure out how to do it like for the life of me. You know, I've been trying.
Put a little soul on it?
Like, yeah, like it was a whistle.
Oh.
Like,
Oh, like in the altissimo, like in the stratosphere.
I was wondering like how you guys learned how to be creative with it more.
So you want me to jump in on this? In my mind, so this is, again, classical perspective, one of the benefits that I was like, I have a lot of students and they all are like, I just want to do what you do on stage. And I'm like, no, you gotta start with classical training. And one of the things I like about regimented basic classical or jazz training is it teaches you a way around the box that nothing else will. So literally, after playing Shostakovich Symphony No. 5 and Strauss's Don Juan, which kicked your tail, I can play anything in the world. And I can say that without an ounce of cocky or like, no, it's just that's the training, is it puts you through that. And so there's an element like level 1 is being able to play your box, whatever that box is, to the best of your ability that you possibly can. Because then the technique frees you up to be able to put your voice on top of that. And so like the stuff that you heard come from Sweet Lee, yeah, there was the tricks and whatever, but that's her voice on top of the technique. The foundation of the house is the technique. The foundation of, I don't know what she practiced, she'll tell you about that in a second. But I went to college and my teacher literally is like, Karate Kid, he's a little Chinese man, Hong Moon Ja, 3rd chair, Pittsburgh Symphony. I went to school in Pittsburgh. And he's like, play me your best piece. Play my best piece. By the way, I was good enough to win a full scholarship to Duquesne from Maryland, I didn't have to pay nothing. So I was like, great, thank you. That's how good I was. I walked in my first lesson, he's like, play me your best piece. I played my best piece. He's like, you know nothing, we start over. I was like, what? And for 4 months, I sat in front of the mirror with the metronome, playing long tones and scales and these little noodly exercises called Schreideck, 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, every week. And it sucked, and it was painful, and it was tedious, but I look back and I'm so grateful because he fixed my technique, he fixed the foundation of my house. My house had cracks in it, my foundation had cracks in it, and he literally, no matter how painstaking it was, fixed the cracks in my foundation, so now I don't have to practice like that 4 hours in front of the mirror every day, because the foundation is fixed. So there's no substitute for good technique. That is literally the build to everything else. And I will say this, part of my problem with not the people in this room, but other folk in your generation, is that there's a thing that's like, well, that's too hard, so let me just do this because this is easy. And you can't do that because you will not be able to work 20 years later like we do. Your foundation has to be secure. Am I making sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right. Anybody else want to add anything?
What instrument do you play?
I play the alto saxophone.
You play the saxophone. So
Don't think laugh about it. Say it with confidence.
I actually went to school for classical clarinet performance. So I'm a clarinet player. Harmonics, you know how to do enharmonics? You know anything about enharmonics on the saxophone? Okay. So there's a technique that saxophone players do called enharmonics, where we'll play like low C. I'll try to do it for you, since this is a master class. You can do it on clarinet too. I think clarinet's a little bit different because it doesn't blow the octave. As you know, it blows the 12. So when we do enharmonics, it puts us in a completely different mode. But like for saxophone, let's go back to it. So I'm playing low C. So I'm going to stay low C, and I'm not going to hit the octave key, right? But I'm going to go up an octave. Then I'm going to go up, I think it's the 5th. So I sit, when she's talking about the foundation, I sit for hours just doing that. And I do that for each note. So you start low, and what you want to do is get to the next intervals without hitting the octave key, and you don't change your fingers. Okay? Does that make sense? And it can be it's difficult. It's going to be very frustrating. But that's how I hear those whistle tones and how I get to them. So that's how I do that. Clarinet, it can be done. Clarinet, it can definitely be done. It's just different because it's not an octave. The thing that I do on clarinet, I do a lot in the shallow register. A lot in the shallow register, and I do a lot of leaps from like the E to like high B or high B flat. Just do that. And what that does is just help control, because your embouchure has to stay exactly the same on clarinet on low E as it does triple high C. You know what I mean? So I use that to work on my embouchure. Anybody play flute?
Any flute players?
If you're playing saxophone, you should try to pick up a flute.
I started with the flute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Keep that up. Don't drop anything. You never know.
Yeah, especially out to all the wind players, and I don't know if we have string players in here either, but hey, what's up? So I started playing viola in high school because the violinists were being lazy, and I wanted to hustle on these wedding gigs. So I was like, give me a viola, and I taught myself alto clef and learned how to work an instrument. Doubling is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So for all the wind players, horn players, and string players, please get yourself a double instrument and stick with it, because it will help you as you go along. And for one more.
I know we have 2 burning questions.
2 burning questions. Deep down in the
3
soul.
burning questions.
Go for it.
Okay. If anybody else has an instrument that you want, we're just gonna do something real quick. Just take it out.
I have a burning question that maybe I'll stay after for just 2 minutes to find out the answer. But mine is about multidisciplinary or multimodal work, because I feel inspired by the sound and the voice, whether it's the verbal or oral voice or the instruments, and then I'm inspired. I'm a dancer as well as a visual artist, but I saw all of you were dancing tonight as you were playing. So I wondered if you are inspired by yourselves to compose as a writer, and then like bring it cyclically back into the art. So I might have to wait for that answer.
Well, I can tell you the short version. Everybody up here has their own projects. Everybody up here composes. Everybody has their own bands that they lead. I wouldn't call what I do dancing up here. But what I will say is this, and this is actually really important for everybody in the room. You can't keep rhythm in your body and stay on top. Especially today, we didn't have a drummer for a minute, right? And then Nate jumped in. Thank you again, Nate. But to keep the rhythm in my body, I cannot do that sitting still. In fact, in classical, they teach you like sit still, do not move, and everything has to be perfect. And when you're playing stuff, it's not like I gotta move, otherwise I will lose the beat. And especially if we don't have a drummer today, then you gotta keep the beat in your body somewhere. If you don't keep the beat in your body somewhere, and that's for every musician in the room, you will get lost. You will get lost. And you know how you got those like 32 bars of rests in the music, and you're just like, oh, what am I gonna have for dinner? If you're not moving, you're gonna get lost. So
This is amazing.
Yeah, my question is how important it is to read music, since I'm a singer and I want to be an organist, and I was told that I can't play the organ without being classically trained how to read music and play piano. I gotta play piano and read music before I can get to the organ, because I love gospel. So how crucial is reading music?
incredibly.
Very incredibly. Oh, there's plenty of people, yeah. Listen, there's plenty of people that have been successful and they don't read, but that success is capped.
Yep.
It's capped.
You're putting a cap on yourself before you even really started.
So yeah, reading music is crucial. You need to read.
You've shut yourself off from Broadway. I'm just thinking about it from money for a second. You shut yourself off from classical money. You shut yourself off from Broadway money. You shut yourself from any kind of orchestral money.
Cruise ship money.
Any cruise ship money. Anytime you need to write a piece, like, oh my gosh, I wrote this piece and it's amazing. Here's the recording. You're gonna have to hire somebody to write it out because the other musicians are gonna want to read it.
I have a burning question that maybe I'll stay after for just 2 minutes to find out the answer. But mine is about multidisciplinary or multimodal work because I feel inspired by the sound and the voice, whether it's the verbal oral voice or the instruments, and then I'm inspired. I'm a dancer as well as a visual artist. And then, but I saw all of you were dancing tonight as you were playing. So I wondered if you are inspired by yourselves to compose as a writer, and then like bring it cyclically back into the art. So I might have to wait for that answer.
Well, I can tell you the short version. Everybody up here has their own projects. Everybody up here composes. Everybody has their own bands that they lead. I wouldn't call what I do dancing up here. But what I will say is this, and this is actually really important for everybody in the room. You can't keep rhythm in your body and stay on top. Especially today, we didn't have a drummer for a minute, right? And then Nate jumped in. Thank you again, Nate. But so like to keep the rhythm in my body, I cannot do that sitting still. In fact, in classical, they teach you like sit still, do not move, and everything has to be perfect. And when you're playing stuff, it's not like I gotta move, otherwise I will lose the beat. And especially if you don't have a drummer today, then you gotta keep the beat in your body somewhere. If you don't keep the beat in your body somewhere, and it's for every musician in the room, you will get lost. You will get lost. And you know how you got those like 32 bars of rests in the music, and you're just like, oh, what am I gonna have for dinner? If you're not moving, you're gonna get lost. So.
My question is how important it is to read music since I'm a singer and I want to be an organist, and I was told that I can't play the organ without being classically trained how to read music and play piano. I gotta play piano and read music before I can get to the organ because I love gospel. So how crucial is reading music?
Incredibly.
Very incredibly. Oh, there's plenty of people, yeah. Listen, there's plenty of people that have been successful and they don't read, but that success is capped.
Yep.
It's capped.
You're putting a cap on yourself before you even really started.
So yeah, reading music is crucial. You need to read.
You've shut yourself off from Broadway. I'm just thinking about it from money for a second. You shut yourself off from classical money. You shut yourself off from Broadway money. You shut yourself from any kind of orchestral money.
Cruise ship money.
Any cruise ship money. Anytime you need to write a piece, like, oh my gosh, I wrote this piece and it's amazing. Here's the recording. You're gonna have to hire somebody to write it out because the other musicians are gonna want to read it.
All right, so I know we just talked about like the reading music, but the hearing is, because like she started playing a song, and I know you guys heard I was in the wrong key because I thought they said E flat, but it was the wrong key, and I was like, oh, okay, so I didn't have music, so I just had to like try to find this. All right, so we're just gonna play this thing, there's 2 notes, see if you can find it. Do you know the song? Come on in. Can you do that? Can you find that? Just do that. 2, ready, go. Good, very good. Now the next one. Then you're gonna go back. Good, so it's like this. Here we go. 2, ready, go. Nice, very good. All right, now, let's see. Listen.
Educational Division for inviting us to come deliver this masterclass. As you can see, all the kids are having a great time, and we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. See you soon.